If you guys film with a GoPro, you guys know what this is, right? This is a protective lens cover for the eye of the GoPro, and this is probably number 8 that I've swapped out now on my Hero 9, because if you guys have noticed in the last couple of videos, there has been a couple of lens glare. I must be welding a little too close to the GoPro and it left some marks on here. But we have a brand new one on the 9 now. Hopefully the clarity is much better. And what is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys saw the last couple of videos, we've been pushing to get this car more and more completed. I know I mentioned I was going to start on the turbo kit, but I decided to do the suspension instead, and we have almost all of it installed. Now the only thing left is to clean the caliper, which I'm probably going to do today on the side, and get those installed. We have the stainless steel brake lines ordered last night. That should be here in about 3 or 4 days. And we are waiting for the sway bar bushing to the subframe. I already have the end link, and then we can put the sway bar back into the car. And then the rear just needs a clean on the brake components and the drum, and connect the e-brake handle cable. Once we get all of that installed, then we can bench bleed the brake master cylinder, install that back onto the booster, connect the lines, and then we can start the bleeding process and cross our fingers that everything bleeds out without leakage. Today we're finally going to get into the turbo kit, although I am still missing a few things, but there's so many parts of the turbo kit that I can make progress on. And we are going to be installing the turbo manifold, turbo, the wastegate, dump tube if it fits, because I already have one pre-made. I don't have material for a downpipe, but we can work on the charge pipe for the intercooler setup. So that's at least the game plan for the next day or so. I'm trying to probably knock out as much of it as possible in today's video. So with that being said, let's get to work. So we know the car turns on, and we know it doesn't miss firing anymore. I realistically wanted to do all the suspension stuff so I can drop the car on the floor to take it for a drive to make sure everything's all good, all motor, before doing the turbo kit. But because I don't have everything for the brakes, I don't want to waste time in between, so I figured just do the turbo kit, because while we wait for parts to show up, at least half the turbo kit will be done. And when we do all the brake stuff, we can technically still drive the car with the turbo kit installed. So that's what we're doing. Bye-bye header. As mentioned previously, we are using a BB Sidewinder K-Series manifold with a BB GTX3582R. This was actually all in my blue sedan before I swapped the setup. We are also using a precision 46mm wastegate. Gotta pop this off and install the firing ring, and also see what spring is in here so we don't boost too much. And if we're low on the spring, we'll run a boost controller later. Guys, I don't know if this is normal, but it is pretty hard to press down the valve, so it might be a pretty heavy spring in it. Even with the firing ring on here and the clamp fully tightened down, the wastegate still spins around. That's not good. So I shaved down the clamp, and that gives me more clamping pressure, and now the wastegate doesn't spin. But I'm going to keep it loose so I can adjust it in the engine bay for the dump tube. I'm going to take off the wastegate hat just to see what spring is in it. I bolted it on just so it's steady, so I'm not fighting the wastegate moving around. Oh, this is like a 20-pound spring or something, because it is stiff. Golly. This thing is like super duper red Loctite. The diaphragm looks good. Probably just gonna run it like that. Shout out to Javier, all-wheel drive Honda Accord from Florida. Even though it's going rear wheel drive now, gave me a good deal on the wastegate. I'm always so confused with wastegate springs, so I'm looking up on the Precision website for the 46mm wastegates, and this thing looks freaking yellow, green, yellow, green, like what is this, right? So the drop down menu shows medium yellow, which this is not a medium spring, but there is a large green at 9 pounds. And then if I go and look at the chart, so if I go back to Google, this one, and then it says select option, which is same thing, large green, large blue, and medium yellow. So there is no large yellow, right? It says green right here is 9 pounds. So 2 websites and the diagram on Google says that this spring, large green, is a 9 pounds. So I guess we're just gonna rock this spring, because the other large spring that I have, this guy, super stiff, way stiffer than the green that I have. This yellow one feels just about the same, which is about 10. So I guess we're just gonna rock this, huh? Bring a boost controller just in case. Let's go ahead and put this thing back together and get the turbo and manifold mounted in the car. Wow, we are cleared. We are clear from the heater hoses, the engine harness. I am stoked about that. Alrighty, turbo, manifold, wastegate installed. What's next? This is the original dump tube that I fabricated with this turbo and manifold setup in my blue car. Now the downpipe actually fitted the other manifold, so I left the downpipe in the car, and I need to fabricate a new one for this one. So hopefully this one fits. I don't know which way it's pointing, but probably something like that. It looks like the dump tube fits, and it's not touching the motor mount or the transfer case. It is sitting on the heater hose just a little bit, but if I take off the worm clamp and position the heater hose up, it'll clear the wastegate by 3/4 of an inch. So I'm probably going to do that. The issue that I'm seeing a little bit here is the dump tube is in the way of where the dash 10 is welded on the oil pan. So I got to figure something out with that one. Okay, so I was tinkering with the heater hose, and we have clearance now between the dump tube right there. The dump tube only gets really hot when you're like under boost when it's dumping, so I'm not worried about it being that close. I've actually had it on the wagon back in the days where it's actually just resting on the downpipe, which is actually wrapped as well too. Never had any issues with it. But I was going to do the downpipe, but I don't have material, I don't think. I'm gonna check my box to see what I have and don't have, what I need to get, and if I don't have all the parts to make a downpipe right now, we can move on to installing the intercooler and stuff to do the charge pipe. Max P and Rod sent over a blow-off valve, 50 mil, and this is the same one that I ran so many freaking times without any issues. I'll show you guys when I unbox it, but I do have the same one over here, and the reason why I bought another one is because the one that I have, I used the flange on a different charge pipe, so I don't have the flange for it. So I have a tile one right here, and I have another Max P rod right here without a flange. So I ordered another one because it was cheap enough to have a flange, but again, have a brand new blow valve to use. You guys probably wondering all these photos on here. If you guys remember Sacramento Raceway. So I guess next things up is the intercooler and radiator combo. Damn guys, look at that freaking thermostat housing right there. Pretty freaking close to the fan, but just enough clearance to run the hose. And I think that's what I'm going to install next, since the intercooler and radiator combo is permanently installed. So these two radiator hoses right here, I bought a couple of days ago. It's like 50 bucks of hoses, and this one right here is actually a B series Integra, like 94. So thermostat right there, bottom radiator right there, if you guys can picture it. I use this one for the K series. If I can't find one in their inventory, that's a 90 with a long leg. So this is ran like that, and it goes all the way to the top of the radiator, right? This one right here is typically the same one that I run for the Sirocco radiator for K series into the EF chassis, and this is for the bottom, whichever way you want to run it, right? But this radiator is shorter than the Sirocco radiator I have in the wagon and the sedan. I mentioned that for some reason this one came shorter, even though it was the same listing I bought before. So that makes this hose a little longer than the radiator itself, because it's supposed to go all the way over here, but you can see the radiator's over here. So this radiator hose, I don't want to use it because I don't want to cut it, because if I did to shorten it down and put a pipe in between, I would just go to my box and just grab literally just two 90s, right? Like I got plenty of 90s in here that I can use, right? And just make that same exact hose, but with a tube in the middle. So I was going to cut up these two guys right here, weld them together. They already have a bead roll on the end here, and I can just use that to join these two together, right? But I went through my bin and I found this Mishimoto hose, and it's like super duper long. You can see it all the way over here, and if I was to kind of hold it up, it goes to the thermostat housing, so I can shorten it down and make this hose work. And then I found this guy in my bin as well too that I can use, and I don't have to cut the B series one. I literally went through that bin, and for some reason I thought I didn't have anything. That's why I bought these guys. So if I can use these two hoses right here, then I don't have to cut these guys, which I can save for a later build, because you know we're putting a B series in that car and we can use that. And then this one, I don't know, a later K series build. Guys, we were able to make those two random hoses work right here, connected. The one on the bottom, show you guys that real quick. Can you guys see that? All the way to the thermostat housing. I just need to get some hose clamps because I used them so much on the other cars and stuff. I don't have any more of size. I do have all the bigger ones right here, but Home Depot, great worm clamps. So we'll grab some hose clamps later. Right now the hoses are in place, so that way it will allow me to build the charge pipes to clear everything accordingly. So I think that's the next thing we're going to do, is the charge pipes. But first we need to see what we have. So this is like the back corner of my garage that I don't really show you guys too much, but it has a lot of like consumables and things back here. So up here, I mean, a bunch of intercoolers from previous builds or cars that I bought that came with intercoolers. I have a drawer right here that is like for paint stuff. This drawer on the top is all of the extra, like, you know, piping kits that I have, couplers, T-bolts, cutoffs, a bunch of material that I reuse for, like, you know, later builds and stuff like that. So between this drawer, between that drawer, my two totes that I have over here, let me show you guys. This is my cutoff bin. So it has a bunch of cutoffs, a bunch of modified pipings that I just kind of threw in here because I know one day eventually I'll find something that I need. So this is my aluminum bin. Kind of went through all of this, and then I also went through this tote, which has like semi new stuff in here, and a bunch of 3 and 3.5, some 4s. I got some giant ones over here, right? But between the 3 storage, I found literally almost everything that I need. And you can see how long this thing has been sitting around. It's all dusty and crusty, right? Previous setup as well too. I'm gonna clean all of this before I 100% mount it in place. So we have 2 90s right here. This is perfect for the intercooler because I was going to weld some pies to kind of turn it backward like I did Project Blueberry. But you know, if I shorten this down a little bit, I can get this coupler to fit and be away from the bolt right there. But there's going to be a pipe in there, and the pipe is going to be where the bolt's going to sit, so it's not going to be where like air would be flowing. But I'd be more comfortable if it was kind of tucked in a little bit. So we have that 190 right there. We have this 90 right there. So now we got back door set up. We found this 45, which is funny enough, this came off my red CRX, and I remember because I have this little gouge right there, but it's not all the way through. The pipe is going to sit all the way to the top anyway, so I'm not worried about it. Probably going to cut it off, but this one right here, right off the turbo, right in between the mount, in between the shift mechanism, we're not touching. So that's a simple like 45 going down to the bottom of the intercooler. And then we have this guy right here. This is about a 3, it's a loose 3 because that's a stock throttle body, a 3 to a 2.5 transition. That's going to go right there, right? And then 2.5 going to go around to the top of the intercooler. And I found some piping. These are brand new. This is leftover from the Max P and Rod piping kit. If you guys don't know, I'll put the link in the description below, but I have a bunch of like cutoffs that are still brand new that I can use to make the bends that I need to go from the turbo to the intercooler to the intake manifold. I'm stoked to have everything. Got all the couplers cut to length and clean inside and out. Now let's go ahead and start fabricating the piping. Oh, that is perfect. I have a flange. Perfect. Last night, the last clip, I was, in the process of building a charge pipe, and one of my buddies showed up because I need to modify his radiator for his car. He dropped it off last night, and one thing led to another. We was chopping it up here in the garage till like 2 in the morning, 2:36 to be exact, and I didn't actually get to building my charge pipe, but I came out here today and went straight to it. You guys saw in the previous clips now that we have our charge pipes all pretty much like routed and taped together. It's not tacked yet. I still got to do the blow-off valve, and I need to do the IAT sensor, which is why I brought this box out originally. So shout out to Just Tig, because when I bought the manifold and stuff from him, he gave me a bunch of consumables, a bunch of wastegate, flex pipes and stuff. So this right here is the flange for the IAT sensor that's going to go somewhere there, so that way we can have our sensor tied into the charge pipe. But charge pipe is all ran. Aside from this, the blow-off valve is right here under the wing. We still got to do that as well too in this video, because we're going to be welding all the aluminum stuff. But I'm going to say it right now, I'm actually going to take off. My family went camping, and I'm going today. I just kind of, because I didn't do this last night, I stayed a little bit to finish this up, and then I'm going to go camping. Well, technically I'm visiting, so I'm gonna go hang out over there for a little bit. We're gonna go fishing a little bit, and then I gotta take off to the home at B&R Fittings. I gotta go get the feed line for the turbo and a few other miscellaneous oiling stuff, and then I'm gonna come back. Probably gonna be dark or sun setting, and we're still gonna continue to weld all the charge pipes up. So I'm gonna clean up real quick. We're gonna warm up the KRX, and we're gonna hit the road. And don't worry guys, I'm gonna take y'all along with me.
I gotta say cause they know what it is. I'm doing for my city. I said put it on the map. This real life shit here, nigga, fuck rap. This white city screaming thick. Big boys.
Told me he couldn't find any of my family names for reservation. Look at the deer right there. But I'm just gonna drive around to see where they're at. This is the only campsite that is close by the house. Fucking Joey. Fucking Joey. Joey! That's funny. Okay, well, the campsite's right here, so there's no parking for me here, so I'm gonna go drive up the bull ramp real quick. Man, I haven't been here in so long. My family's been coming here for like 20 plus years. Probably longer than that. This is refreshing, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Water's a little down, because last time I was here, last year, it was like somewhere here. But it's a nice view. It's a nice view. I forgot my camping chair to sit and wander, but it's nice to be out here regardless. All right, let's go park the car, get to the campsite, and set up to go fishing. Throwing it hella back. Yeah, pouring over there. He passed out right there. What had happened was I left the bait inside the car. All of this right here is where we can use to camp, but you have to like reserve way ahead of time. Oh, my fishing pole. Used to play volleyball and everything over here. They were getting a little rowdy because most of them are already faded, my brothers and friends and stuff. So that was my cue to go fishing. I was eating a little bit, so the sun is like probably setting in like 3 hours. So we got 3 hours to play around here in the water. So last year, this whole entire field was green grass, but I mean, it changes obviously with the season, but it's super shallow over here. There's a lot of weeds I can see through the water. Probably gonna keep walking. Oh, We are walking. We are walking. I just want to gap myself between other fishermen. I don't want to just be like right next to them. I know these guys were talking about bass, so they're trying to catch bass. I'm just trying to catch whatever. They didn't have any waxworm, which is what I usually use here. So I got some mini night crawlers, earthworms, whatever you want to call them. Probably gonna try right here real quick. I just grabbed the random rod in the garage. I didn't use my bait caster, so let's see what it does. Of all the poles that I grabbed the broken one. Why? What the heck? I've already gone through 3 night crawlers, and there's a lot of weeds here. I feel like with the weight dragging on the bottom, the little nibbles I feel is the weight dragging on the rocks. But I mean, we're trying. I feel like there's less weeds right here, and because my weight's set up on the bottom, I think I'm just going to throw it and let it sit. The bait is going to float. So let's go ahead and just sit back and take in this view. It's freaking so refreshing. 35 minutes and I'm already annoyed of all the bugs getting on me. Look at my hand. It's freaking all red. Yeah, so I'm done with that. That girl right there, she has a freaking cat in a pouch, so that was pretty cool to see. Head back to the campground and probably just eat a little bit. I'm probably gonna take off.
Hey, my man. You use?
What's super duper funny is that the overflow parking is half of it's my family's car. All right, let's go plow down the mountain again. You know, the KRX drives amazing, right? But you guys know what I hate about it is the low RPM drivability. Look. Stop and go traffic in this car is so bad. The decel is stupid. Stupid. It's a little hard to see me right now, but I just pulled up to my buddy B&R Fittings to pick up my feed line and some fittings. All right, guys, let me show you some of the stuff that I picked up. So B&R Fitting is my go-to guy, and I always have his link in the description below. I know the link doesn't work anymore because he actually took the link down because of life priorities, but he still sells this stuff. So if you guys want, you can go to his Instagram. It has his direct number, and this is like literally my fuel go-to guy. So while I was here, I just picked up tight 90 bend for the downpipe because I'm missing material. We have our feed line right here. He literally made it on the spot, 40-inch -3 9045. We have the fitting right here for the feed block for the oil to the turbo, and we also have an O2 sensor bung because, like I said, I'm already here, I may as well buy it. And we got a turbo blanket as well too, because my throttle cable goes literally right on top of the turbo. So turbo blanket is going to keep it from melting, and we are going to be driving home, and I'm about 65 miles from home. Guys, that's a Challenger on slicks right there. Get on the freeway, I swear, bro. Get on the freeway, I'm telling you. Ah, you wimp. You a wimp. Ah, man. Guys, we are just about done with the charge pipes for the 88 silver sedan. The only thing I need to do left is to drill the hole out for the flange, because I don't have a hole saw that has any teeth on it. You can see where it's welded and there's no hole there. IAT sensor is in the Just TIG flange. Shout out to him for the flanges. He gave me a couple of those when I bought the Just TIG log top mount for the wagon. If you guys need turbo manifolds, man, Just TIG. But the charge pipe, I'm just gonna mock it up in the car for you guys just to see. The couplers are not on, the hole needs to be drilled out, and I'm still missing all of the T-bolt clamps, which I'm sure I have. I just got to go through all of them to find the true 2.5s. But let me show you guys really quickly here. This thing goes into the coupler about 2 inches, enough to clamp before the B-roll on the end of the tube. Right there, IAT sensor on the bottom clears the radiator hose. I got a finger right in between that, and it is going to come up a little bit because, again, there's no couplers, but T-bolt clamps will secure everything into place. I think with the charge pipe, it will make the intercooler and radiator combo a little more sturdy because there is no top mount. But aside from that, I'm not worried about it, and this thing is coming along, guys. It is coming along. Now, I do still need to build the return line and the feed line setup that we just picked up from B&R last night. It's all over here, along with turbo blankets and, you know, miscellaneous stuff. But I'm not going to do that in this video because I mentioned in the previous videos that we're going to be tuning my blue all-wheel drive car as a plan B standby. And if I'm going to be truthful right now, I don't think the silver car is going to make it to Race Wars. Why do I say this? Is because my registration, I still got to take care of that when the car is all said and done, and I still need to go do an alignment. I still need to go to tune this car, and my buddy Stefan, who tows my car, usually is going to be out of town that weekend. There's literally no possible way that I can get this car to Race Wars, which is about an hour and 25 from me. So we're going to be tuning the blue car actually today is why I'm not doing the rest of the turbo kit, including the downpipe, which we now have material for. It's because I need to take off to the dyno here in about an hour so we can tune that car to have it on standby. And I'm almost certain now that the blue all-wheel drive car is what's going to Race Wars. It is what it is, you know, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But as far as the turbo kit installation with a little bit of mixture with the camping stuff, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This thing is not that far away from firing over with the turbo kit for the first time. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, man, I hope you guys leave a thumbs up. Please leave a comment down below and get me back into the algorithm. I know you guys been seeing a lot of the spam and stuff. I can't control the spams and the bots and, you know, all the things that happen in the comment below. But if you guys can help me out, I would truly appreciate it. But if you guys want to stick around for the dyno video, which will be the next one for you guys, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.